Lost
Are we live?
Ryan altogether.
Oh man. And welcome to another episode of Behind the Mask, which we've got a new intro, which I was busy this weekend. And that's what I came up with. I was really excited because now we actually can see me and Dennis interacting with people and doing other things. And
That's right.
I like to also, say, of course, as always, I'm Eugene, and with my wonderful co-host, the lovely Dennis. Dennis, how are you?
Well, I don't know about lovely, but how's everybody doing tonight?
And I also want to take give a shout out to the Dodger Stadium for allowing me to sit here tonight and do this from the game itself. Because look at that beautiful background. Oh wait, you can hear the crowd, but this mic is so good that it kind of, huh? Oh man, you got to go throw a curveball. Yeah, you suck. All right. Anyways, so really quick because we got a lot of guests tonight. We got a lot of things we want to talk about. We do.
Yeah.
We got a
great show.
It's awesome. I don't know if anybody was reading the post that I put onto Instagram. We've got somebody from the past, which is I'm so excited to have back on. We have somebody that wants to talk about the biggest gear that we have, which is our body and us getting better fit. And then we've got a legend coming on. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to have them all on, which is a rare thing for us because it's rare when we have more than like me, Dennis, and one other person. So we're really excited. Yeah. And we were told that the limit is 5, and we hit that limit tonight. We didn't want to bring any more guests in. So really quick, as always, we're going to crack this thing open. That's a beautiful sound. I really wish it was another sour green, but it's not. This one is, the good old favorite, the red berry. I still got like a couple of these left because I had a case. But shout out to Ghost because I really needed you. It's so great. But as always, it's great stuff.
Our guest is going to talk about energy drinks.
So our guest, yes, I am drinking an energy drink. It's bad for your body, but this one is good. No, really, this one has, it's the legendary, the legendary energy, the epic focus, the no artificial colors. It's clear and no sugar. So it's still okay, right? Right? Yes. Okay. We're just going to leave it at that.
Sure.
But check out Ghost. Go to GNC. You can pick up all their flavors there. They also have a lot of great supplements that I like the protein drink, the protein powders that they have. I actually have the chocolate chip, which I'm starting to drink, which is really good. Whew, I love.
Yeah, they've got a whole line of pre and post workout, all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's some really good stuff. So check them out. Go to their website, Ghost Energy. It's also GhostLifestyle.com. So they've got 2 different sites to go to, but both places allow you to actually buy the drinks. So as always, it's great to have Lupe on too, because I always look forward to his comments. And Lupe, it's great to have you as always. So without further ado, because we want to bring in all our guests and try to get everything going, we're going to start off, which is, I'm trying to mix things around. But we're going to start off with our guest, which I didn't load it. Oh, I'm so lame. Tonight is not a good night, and we're supposed to be professionals, Dennis. I'm not a professional tonight.
I'm going to put that on you, my friend.
I know it's really bad. I'm trying to, try to look professional in front of our new guests, and I already blew it. I'm like, but you know what? It's all right because I'm going to pick it up right here. So without further ado, okay, thank you, Ryan. Thanks. That's could always count on you. But here we go with our guest. Bud, welcome.
Hey, how you guys
Oh,
doing?
oh my God, it's awesome to have you on. The last time we talked to you was on Fred's show, but it's nice to have
Yes.
you on here with us.
Well, it's my pleasure to be on there. I'm really happy that you asked me, so that's great.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Gonna
no,
be fun.
yeah, I think it's more on our side that we're just like, oh my God, he actually said yes, so we got to bring
Oh,
him on.
absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
It's not every a legend in the sport agrees to come on this rinky-dink show, you know.
Well, it depends on who you're talking to at Rigading. I kind of like it. You guys are great.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen you on Fred's show, and both of you, I took a liking to you. So, I mean, it's good. I mean, you guys are really good. And I like what you're doing for the sport.
Thank you.
So,
Well,
that
but
energy drink looks good. So.
Oh, it is. It's actually it was what I need, and I'm gonna start.
I got an energy drink.
Yeah, I think yours trumps mine. So
it does. It certainly does.
This is a kid's drink, and you're drinking a man's drink.
Well, this is an old kid's drink.
So, Bud, like I always, whenever we bring on our guests, I like to start off by saying, so you were born, and then there was paintball, and I know there was a lot more in between that, but we want to know, how did you get started into this crazy sport of paintball?
Well, in 1984, my son's birthday, he's turning 16, and my daughter worked with some people that played paintball. So she set up a little paintball game at SC Village. That's when it was really in the beginning, and so I said, yeah, let's go. So I went out and got the crap shot out of me, and I'm just not one that's going to give up on that deal. So I thought about it all week, and I couldn't come up with a good answer. So the next week I went back, and then I figured it out. I thought, well, this is good. I got shot up again. So I went home and made this little device, because when you change your CO2, it went shh, and then they run up and shoot you.
Oh, okay.
So I made this little device. I put a CO2 in it, and it went. You just turn a valve and went shh. They'd run up, I'd shoot them. So that was my first device I made for paintball. And at the time, I mean, it was amazing what I did do. I like hot rods, cars, and I built ships, and all at one time. So anyway, that started my career in paintball, and I started modifying guns, and the 12-gram guns, and making stuff for them. And 85, I think it was. I started my company in 87. I was buying guns from a guy at SC Village, and it was kind of a weird situation. So, and I didn't like it, and I told him, because I had to, all three of us were sitting there talking. The guy that was providing the gun, I had to talk to my friend before I couldn't talk to him direct, and we're all standing there looking at each other. And so I said, well, this ain't gonna work. Well, what are you gonna do? And I said, I'm gonna make a gun. So he laughed his ass off. I mean, I thought, okay. So I went home, thought about it for a week, and Friday night, my favorite program was going to come on at 8 o'clock. So I went out in the shop at 6. And by the time 8 o'clock arrived, I had a trigger frame on a body, and that I made the body, and then went back out at 9 o'clock, worked till midnight, and got up at 6 and worked till 9, shot the gun at 9 o'clock in the morning, and went out to the field. And this guy hadn't have been driving in the field at the same time I did. And so little hefty guy. And so he got out of his Jeep and started waddling away, and I shot him in the ass. And I told him at that point, don't never laugh at me. So, and that started my career. And but I did overhaul ships in the Navy Yard, and and for 22 years. And in 1988, I quit that job and started full-time paintball. I didn't retire. I just quit. So
You just quit. All right.
Wow.
and
That's
so
crazy.
I've been there ever since. been here.
Well,
That's, yeah, it's amazing.
Mike-
So I've always been curious. So I mean, obviously, anybody who's been, associated with the sport for any length of time knows the autococker. They know the legacy that you've kind of created for the sport. But so the initial design, I mean, you obviously have a very kind of an engineering frame of mind. Do you have a background in fabrication, or is this just something you did?
Well,
On the
my fabrication started when I was about 7 years old, 6, 7 years old, and my dad was a mechanic, and I just always worked in shops and stuff. And I actually painted my first car when I was 6 years old, and so I was in the automotive end of it forever. And I built my first car when I was 14, and by that time, I was, when I was 14, I'd already owned 12 cars.
oh my God.
Wow.
So I got a 41 Chevrolet that I really liked a lot. I went to the junkyard, got a Cadillac motor, stuffed it in a 41 Chevrolet, and that's what I drove around for 2 years until I moved to California. That was in Florida. My dad has a racing background, Bobby Allison, and people know him and stuff, but he was my dad, our neighbor next to each other's shop. And so I came out here and joined the service when I was 16. And 6 days after I turned 17, I went in the Air Force. I was an aircraft mechanic for 4 years, plus a bunch of other stuff I did for the government. Got out, and then I worked in oil refineries building machines, and then got out from there and went to work for the shipyard and worked there for 22 years. But in the meantime, I built ships, cars, boats, anything that had wheels on it, I was in it. So, but the thing that was really weird is that I had a reading disability. And I couldn't read for nothing, and I couldn't figure out why. Nobody else could either. And so I only went to the 9th grade and never even went into high school. So, but I could pick up anything and read blueprints and stuff like that, but I couldn't read. And Bob McGuire, which today is his birthday, 1998, he figured out what was wrong with me. I'm dyslexic, and my mind doesn't fit what my eyes are seeing, and he taught me to read. I mean, I'm not the best reader in the world, but I mean, it sure as hell helped in my life from then on. But Bob's a great guy. Love him to death. He was my partner in PTI, Paintball Training Institute. So, but
that's insane. But I mean, to hear that at 6 years old, I was sitting on my couch watching like Superman.
Cartoons.
At 6 years old, you were painting your first car. By the time you were 14, when I was like chasing after nothing really, I was in band. You built and had how many cars?
12.
Jeez.
Well, I started young, I just, my dad taught me to never say no. You can't do something. And that's been embedded in my mind all my life. And I've been trying to teach people that your only limitations is your own self. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I had a bunch of problems not being able to read. And, but when I went to work for the government, I had to write reports, and it's about halfway through my career there, and they like to die when I wrote the first one. It was not, I couldn't even make heads or tail of it, so they sent me off to college for 2 years, which helped a lot. And I could write, but I just couldn't read. It just, I don't know. It's a weird thing that some people have it, some people don't. But
I have a very similar problem, except mine's with numbers.
Well, if I give you a telephone number and it doesn't work, take the last 2 numbers and reverse them. It'll work fine. I mean, and I see them as right, and everybody else sees them as wrong.
Yeah.
But I was,
Yeah.
I started driving when I was 10. You know.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
I actually drove a wrecker picking up cars when I was 13.
Wow.
A wrecker in Florida. You know, so.
And those things are huge.
Don't never limit yourself. I keep teaching kids that today. Just don't limit yourself. If you got a handicap, and which every person on the walking the earth has an handicap of some sort, and don't let that stop you. You know, I mean, it can't. You know, it just if you want to succeed in life, you know. So
That's just, it's just crazy to hear everything that you've done, and it's, you know, you've overcome something like, you know, like you said, that it's a disability, or it can be, Dennis, not really handicap, huh? I mean, it's
What? Mine?
no, not you, not
no,
yours.
I like to hear Dennis's. What's your handicap, dude?
Well,
Besides me.
You know, I mean, like I said, I actually have a form of dyslexia, but mine's with numbers, so it's dyscalculia. And so mathematic equations I really struggle with. The more complex they are, the harder they are. So that was something that I struggled with for quite a while. And then, you know, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, you know, I'm various physical ailments as of late.
It's called 45, but you know.
Yeah. But I mean, that was my biggest struggle was, you know, I, for the longest time, couldn't figure out why, you know, I was struggling so much with math. And, you know, I mean, at the time when, you know, I graduated high school, which was in 1995, they didn't have the same requirements that they do now for students to be able to matriculate out of high school. So I managed to graduate with pre-algebra. And thankfully, you know, my career field, I don't need to do anything more than, you know, some division and multiplication. And so I'm good. But yeah, for the longest time, it was kind of a mystery. And then when I was much older, well into my 20s, is when I actually was diagnosed with dyscalculia. So
I don't think they know. When we were younger, I don't think they knew what it was. I mean, I went to every reading class there was known to man in Florida. I mean, it just didn't click, you know.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
math, I love math. There's two things that I love in school is math and American history. It fascinates me to today, you know. But it just, you know, we all got our likes and dislikes. I love everything. You know, if I'm going to learn something, I want to learn something every day. Every day
Yeah.
of my life, I got to learn something. I mean, and I learned a couple of things today, you know. It's just, no, I love learning, and you should never quit. You know,
Well, I mean,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you can't say that you know everything, because there's no such
Exactly.
thing as knowing everything. If
Exactly.
you say that you know everything, then and you stop learning, then you're just,
no.
that's when I would say, you know what, you're stupid, because you should be learning something new every day. And that's my biggest, I think one of my biggest problems that I have is that I'm constantly wanting to learn something new. My wife is like, would you just stop and pick
Slow
one
down
thing?
a little bit.
No,
Yeah.
I want to know everything. I need to know everything. Now after hearing Bud, now I really got to know everything. Holy crap. I'm way
Yeah,
behind.
exactly.
No, you know, guy taught me a long time ago. He said, "Don't try and remember everything. Just remember enough, you know, and to find out where to get the answers." I mean, that's it in a nutshell. You know, and because, you know, the older I get, I mean, I go to get a wrench in a shop, and you know, I forgot what I went there for, you know. And it's a bitch getting old. But you know, I mean, I just turned 79, and
Which,
With belated happy
I-
birthday, by the way.
yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. But I look at people 10, 15 years younger than me, and then they can't even keep up with me 5 minutes. You know, I mean, it's just, and physical. is what it is, and that's working out all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I teach people that too. So
Absolutely.
we'll move into our next guest, which we talked about that, which is the physical part, which I'm now shameful that I have to say that I don't work out as much, and I hear you that you do it at 2:00 in the morning every day. It's like, oh my gosh. But really quick, I did want to say, Bud, it would be my second paintball gun that I got, because the first one was a piece of crap. It was a Stingray, and we've talked about how bad those guns are. Me and Dennis have gone over the bad guns, but your marker was my second marker that I actually purchased, and I absolutely loved. It was a black autococker, and I took it to my first tournament. Got wrecked, but I was so happy that I had an autococker. And unfortunately, it ended up getting stolen. And I was pretty bummed after that. I loved that gun. You, sir, did so much for it.
Well, I done it. I built the gun, and I done everything that I did with my business for the people that supported me and bought my gear. I mean, I couldn't thank them enough, and that's the reason I'm still playing. Is you're not going to sell anything or get people to understand you and how you tick unless you're there with them. I mean, and I love playing. It's just exciting to me right now going this coming weekend as it would have been, 40 years ago. I mean, I just love playing paintball. I mean, and people think I'm crazy, but no, I'm going to be the oldest player. I'll tell you that. Still playing, not going out and fiddling around. I like to run around and shoot people. So
I would love to get out there.
Those are words to live by right there.
Yeah, and I'd love to get out there with you, Bud, and just see you wreck people. That'd be fun.
Let's do it.
Definitely. I mean, you're seriously not far from me and Dennis, so we got to figure something out and get out there because, oh man,
no, we will, partner. We will. We'll
awesome
together for sure.
But as you were saying, you were talking about being physical. Our other guests that we have on, we're going to actually go into a different segment because I figured this kind of falls into it because I was telling Dennis, we're going to talk about the biggest gear we got, our body.
Yep.
And some of us out there are a little bit bigger, but our next guest actually is wanting to help us to get better when we're on the field. So let's move into that segment. And that segment, of course, like I was kind of hinting at, is called Welcome, Ben.
Hello, gentlemen. Good to be here.
The man of the hour.
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Yes,
we have Ben from Play Better Paintball. I was kind of just cruising through the Instagram and I came across his thread and I was all like, what is this? And so I go on there and I start watching in the videos that are on there. And then I go to his website and I start reading up on it. And I'm like, we got to have this guy on because he really wants to help us get better at playing and also be a little bit more physically fit. Because like I said, there's guys out there that are bigger and could use some of this. Like me, I definitely could use this. So Ben, tell us all about this. What is this?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I do feel like I am not worthy to be in this conversation with the legend himself, Mr. Bud Orr. So it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to make your virtual acquaintance. But Play Better Paintball is basically what I hope to bring with me as I come back to paintball after taking a 18-year leave from it. I left in 2004. I literally lugged around that Impulse and that Ion from the early 2000s and said, I'm going to get back into paintball at some point. And my wife and I have moved a lot. And she was like, you're never doing it. And I was like, I am. And this was the year. And when I came back, I said, I wonder if anyone is offering workouts for paintball. and I didn't see anything in an immediate social media or online search. So I was like, obviously there's something missing here. Maybe some people are doing it, but I'm not seeing it. So there needs to be more presence for fitness in paintball. And that's what I've been doing since 2016 as a personal trainer. I actually have 3 coaching certifications. So strength and conditioning and CrossFit are actually my other 2. And then I have 2 nutrition certifications, both in sports nutrition and then nutrition coaching. So I have a lot of expertise, and I've been applying them to kind of one-on-one clients who have kind of this similar, I'm not going to call them issues, because weight is honestly not as big of an issue as a lot of people think it is. You can actually have a much healthier person who is medically overweight than a thin person. It all comes down to how much are you actually doing to take care of what's inside your gear, as you were talking about. This is the most important gear that we have on the paintball field, whether we recognize it or not. So I am here to help everyone take care of their gear. All sizes are welcome and encouraged to play the sport and take care of yourself. And size has little to do with it. But, you know, I'll say it. The smaller you are, the less of a target you are. So for some people out there who are like, I'd like to be a smaller target, that is something I can definitely help you with.
That's awesome.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Because
And-
we were talking, I was talking to Bud earlier in the green. Well, we were both talking to him in the green room, and he talked about how the man still works out at his age at 2:00 in the morning, which puts myself and Dennis kind of to shame, because it's like
To shame, absolutely.
Age really is more of a number than people give it credit for. We all, you know, I'm almost 40. So Dennis, I can kind of relate to some of those feelings of like, it's called being 45. I'm like, yeah, I'm 37 now. And I've been feeling it since I was 27, as a matter of fact. No one would probably guess this, but I've had 2 back surgeons tell me that I need a spinal fusion because I had a herniated disc and degenerative disc disease in my mid-20s. This was before I became a fitness professional, so I didn't know what I was doing back then, but I worked out 5 days a week, and apparently I didn't do it very well. So just because you're active doesn't necessarily mean you're doing something good for your body, which was a big reason that I got steered in the direction of, okay, well, what is good exercise? And once I learned it, I was like, well, I want to help other people do this, because everyone should have this set of skills to take care of their own body for the rest of their life.
Well, like Ryan was asking about sleep. So sleep is
sleep
also
apnea specifically, he was saying.
that is a workout, Ryan, because you're like, huh. Yeah. So
I can relate on a
sweat. It makes you sweat.
I've got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. For the last few years, I've had a apnea of sorts.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And it's interesting you bring up the problems that you've had in the past with your back. I've had a very similar diagnosis. I've got bulging discs, and I was told, oh yeah, we're probably gonna have to do either a discectomy or possibly a partial fusion and whatnot like that. And I don't know. I mean, at that point in my life, surgery was just a much bigger monster than I was willing to really take on. So I never did it, and I instead focused on other ways to heal my body. So I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on that since we have a very similar problem with that. But the other thing that I was really excited to hear you bring up is that you have a little bit of your background is in the nutrition as well. So I'd love to talk a little bit about how our bodies are metabolizing the food that we eat before we're stepping onto the field, and maybe some of the things that we should be looking at in order to not only maintain a good level of energy, but post tournament, post practice, what have you, things that'll help to kind of keep your body in balance.
Yeah, and those are great questions, and all things that I want to bring to the world of paintball. The number one thing I think most people are interested in is, okay, well, how can I make what I do in the gym more effective for what I do on the paintball field? But I'm glad you're asking the question about, okay, well, what do we need to think about when we're drinking, fluids at the field? Do we need to be drinking these Ghost energy drinks, or should it be more water and Gatorade, or something low sugar, high sugar? Those are all technically they're questions that actually have a little bit of a different answer depending on the person and the situation. So they do get a little bit complicated, but for the most part, they can be relatively simplified for the average person. So I'm happy to answer, any specific question that you have about that.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Let's go ahead and start with energy drinks. What are your thoughts on,
You have to go after the energy
better...
drink.
Well, I don't want to say anything that's gonna speak poorly or reflect negatively on any sponsors of this show. But
we sponsor them; they don't sponsor us.
Yeah, exactly.
We just love to talk about them.
But no, energy drinks, and I lump into this pre-workouts, anything that people take as a way to like give them the supposed energy edge while they're either working out or at the field. The number one ingredient in all of those that actually does something for you is caffeine. So any energy drink, any pre-workout, the big benefit you're going to get is taking caffeine, which you literally can just take a tablet. You can have a cup of coffee. So the biggest energy boost that you're going to get from any of those drinks is the caffeine. So if you want to pay, $3 or $4 for a can, or $1 or $2 per serving of a pre-workout, they definitely work. Things inside of them like beta alanine, taurine. A lot of these ingredients are vasodilators, so they will increase your blood flow, but caffeine actually does that also. So it's really hard to separate how much of the feeling do you have that's from the caffeine, how much of it is from one of these other ingredients. Beta alanine, for those who don't know, is the chemical that gives you the tingly sensation. If you've ever tried one of the pre-workouts, I don't know if Ghost has it in there, but if you've ever taken something and you're like, man, this is giving me so much energy, I feel the tingles. That's actually not energy. It's just the tingly feeling that it causes under your skin. So
yeah, I stopped. I tried that before the pre-workout, and I got the tingles in the giblets, and I was like, "No, I'm done."
Some people like it, some people don't.
I don't like that feeling. It's like, no, I'm good. I'll just go into the gym, work out, and I'll be good. I don't need an extra boost to get me going. I do drink these, but I usually, like on a really hot day, I stay away from them because of the amount of caffeine that they do have. And I prefer to have like water. And if I'm going to have any caffeine, it'd be like like a soda or something, or even coffee. So last tingly sensation.
Man, poor Lupe. Sorry to hear you had a stroke.
Oh my God, Lupe. So Ben, on your site, I saw that you have like 3 tier levels that people can go on and subscribe to, right?
Yeah, and this is actually a good time to bring in someone that I recently partnered with, Patty Gleason, who you might know, Off the Leash Training, plays for the Seattle Thunder. He offers online coaching. So he's a personal trainer and a strength and conditioning coach, which is 2 of my certifications. And he does what I've been doing since 2018, which is online remote coaching, where we work one-on-one together. That's not actually what I want to do in paintball. So what I'm doing on my website is offering 3 different difficulty levels, levels of experience, basically. And it's not necessarily experience, just where you are with your body right now. You may be very experienced, but if you haven't really been regularly training for a year or more, you probably need to start at a beginner level. So I have kind of a beginner level program, an intermediate level program, and then an advanced program. So essentially an entire year of training, where basically for less than $1 per workout, I think it comes out to more like $0.25 per workout. I have written from warm up to cool down an entire workout for you. So each one is 3 days a week. You don't have to do it 3 days a week, but it's there. So if you wanted to go 3 days a week, it's there for you. I don't recommend going more than that for the type of customer I'm looking to serve, because I predict you're playing paintball on the weekends. So depending on if you're going once or twice, 4 or 5 days of rigorous activity is plenty for most people. But yeah, there's basically a beginner program for people who come onto the field with a little bit of injury or some sort of health situation that holds them back from really unleashing on the field. And so this program puts you on machines and puts you through certain movements, guides you on what intensity to look at, with the intent of rehabilitating your body. Now, that being said, it's not designed to be a custom program for your specific need, but with my expertise, I kind of blend in, okay, if someone has an ankle, a knee, a back, a hip, shoulder issue, I make sure that throughout each week of programming, something in there is designed to rehabilitate that joint. So by the time you're done with the beginner program, you should be ready to go to the intermediate, which is someone who goes onto the field with no reservations. They feel very healthy. They may not feel like an elite athlete, but they can go out and play as hard as they want to without feeling like they're going to break something, hurt themselves. So that's the intermediate level program. And by the end of that, you should feel like, okay, I'm ready for some intense training. My body feels really good. I am ready to go to the next level. That's what the advanced program is for. It's very high intensity, really designed to get you to where you're performing as well as any pro athlete out there on the paintball field. Not to be confused with paintball skill. Skill in paintball is a completely different thing. But as far as your physical ability goes, you should be able to run as fast as any of those players out there, move just as agile, just as quickly as anybody else on that pro field. After that, that's when I say, time to go to Patty Gleason and get you a custom program, because to go to the next level after that, you need something that's written for you specifically.
Well, like right now, like on the screen, you can see that Ryan asked, how's the training for paintball different from like a regular workout? It's a good question.
Yeah, very good question. And I've actually written this out, all the positions that paintball tends to lend itself to. And one good example is how much time we spent leaning to one side. And if you look at any training program out there on the internet that you can get for less than $100, you're probably not going to see too many exercises that help you train the muscles that help you bend over side to side, much less holding that position. Some workouts might say, okay, let's do some side bends, go down and up, but not too many programs are written with the intent of you hanging out in this bent over position for extended periods of time. That is pretty stressful on the spine, especially when you consider the fact that you are also holding roughly 10 pounds in your hands while doing that, which adds more leverage pressure to the lower back. So my programs take that into account, that we need to make sure that we are holding certain exercises that make those muscles develop endurance and stamina, so that when you're leaning for long periods of time, holding that lane, watching for someone to make a move, that your back is able to hold up to that, and it's not going to punish you for a few days after you are done playing.
Yeah.
And
not to
like
mention
our other guest,
Yeah.
our other guest who was at Decay of Nations was saying he didn't know he was going to be doing crunches while he was out in the field.
Yeah. And Ben, you bring up a real good point in that, being able to hold that position for, extended periods of time, not only with that marker in your hand, but then for players like myself, I usually play back corner. Depending on how much paint you've got on your lower back, that can also add into, the strain that you may be putting on your body.
For sure. And that weight actually sits pretty conveniently on your hips for the most part. So the weight in the pack is not so much an issue. And actually that pack gives you some good bracing around the lower back. But
assuming you're using a good pack,
assuming you're using a good pack. Yeah, good point. But running or moving with that resistance on you, definitely energy wise, puts a big drain on you. You might be able to, without weight, run just fine to a bunker, but when you put 5 to 10 pods on your back, all of a sudden you feel a lot more sluggish when you're moving. And so that's where actually stamina and endurance comes a little bit more important than worrying about the weight that's on your back.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're talking about, sorry, go ahead, Dennis.
I was just going to say, so some of these workouts that you've kind of come up with, would you say that they're very core oriented?
I would say they definitely take into account everything a paintball player should when it comes to the core. So I take into account that in paintball, even if you play back, there's a good chance at some point while you're playing, you're going to need to get on all hands in the quadruped position where you're supporting yourself on your knees and your hands, and then the prone position where you're actually like crawling or even laying on your belly. So I have a spreadsheet written out with the prone movement, the quadruped, kneeling, half kneeling, standing, side bending. I have every single position and movement that we do in paintball. And I make sure every single week of workouts, we have an exercise that trains that specific position or movement.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing.
So
That's cool.
we don't really do squats necessarily because in
Thank you, Jesus.
squats is very good for knee health and honestly just overall anatomical health. It's one of the basic human movements, so our joints should be able to do that. But when it comes to paintball, we rarely are standing with our feet right under our shoulders. We're almost always staggered stance. So the squat variations that we do are actually more paintball specific, where we're doing things where our body's angled a little bit differently, like we would be on the field.
That's cool. This is like, yeah, I was about to just click on to get your workout because I was like, I'm just gonna get it because why not? Let me see what it does. But now I really want to get it because I could definitely.
Oh, I mean, are you kidding me?
do
I'd
that.
love to. I'd love to actually, like, get down and dirty with that. I think that would do me some wonders. Absolutely.
Well, I've got a secret page on the website for anyone that uses my business card when I hand it out at the field. There's a secret page that it takes you to where you can get an entire month of workouts for free. So I got your email. I'll forward you the link to that page so you can just say, hey, I would like to try this one. And if you're like, yeah, this one's too easy or too hard, I'll send you the other one. That way you can find which one works best for you.
Awesome. Oh,
That's
wow.
sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
now, I feel like we need to hear from Bud, because getting up at 2:00 in the morning and going to the gym, as Eugene said, I mean that outpaces us right now. So what is your workout like right now, Bud?
It's I do like 5 days a week, and sometimes 4, and I alternate, and I do the thing I do for paintball is stretching, before the games and also before I work out too. Depends on what workout and what you're saying about your core and what the muscles that you're using. I agree 100%. I mean, I went to a doctor 6 months ago, and I filled out that 100 questions and went in to see him, and he asked me, well, how many times you been operated on? I said, never.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said, well, how many times you been in a hospital? I said, never. And he said, well, what happens when when you get cut? I says, I sew myself up. And he looked at me and he looked at my wife and he said, what does he do? She says, everything, and he looked at me and says, you're difficult. I said, well, thank you very much, but no, you got to take care of your body. And what Ben's saying is, I mean, you got, he is dead on what you need to do. I mean, and it doesn't take a big effort. I go at 2:00 in the morning or, 3:00 in the morning because I got a family there, and that helps you through the workouts and stuff, motivation, I should say motivation.
Well, Bud, you definitely you're motivating me along with Ben, also motivating me to actually get out there. I'm not going to get out there at 2:00 in the morning, but I have to now, I'm going to have to carve out the time to do it because I've been feeling sluggish and it's not because of these. I don't drink these that often. Usually it's mainly for the show and on my way home and my way to work. And, but I don't drink them that often.
When you start working out, it's a totally different feeling in your body. Yeah. I mean, really, honestly, and you don't need energy drinks. I never drank them. I drink 1 cup of coffee a day, and I'm the type of person that really studies your body, and I like, and your body's going to tell you what it needs if you listen. And Ben will tell you how to listen. I mean, and that's the biggest problem that people have. They don't listen to their body.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
I mean, and Ben,
absolutely.
My hat's off to you, brother. I mean,
Definitely.
Thanks,
you're
bud.
you're needed in this sport big time.
Thank you.
Yoga's pretty good too. That's good for your
I actually
core
have some yoga
stretches.
moves in the
Oh,
program.
wow.
Yeah. No,
All right,
it's,
so let us get that website for you so we can move on to our next segment, because since we're talking about so much tournament stuff and paintball, we want to bring in our final guest to come on to the show. But let's hear about that website, Ben, which I have it right here.
Yeah.
You got
We've
it.
got people in the chat asking what your website is. Yeah.
That's it. Playbetterpaintball.com.
There
And
it is.
where else can they find you, or how else? What's the other stuff as far as your Instagram?
It's pretty consistent for the most part. It's Play Better Paintball on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Someone apparently use it, so I go by Paintball Coach on Twitter.
Okay.
Oh, so he's kind of like us, Dennis. He's got a theme running through all his
Yeah,
his
exactly.
social media.
Exactly.
Trying.
So it's pretty easy to remember that. You guys definitely check him out. Like I said, when I checked out his Instagram alone, that's what got me interested in doing this and bringing him on. And after hearing this, I definitely want to try it out and then see how far I'm going to go. I'm going to push myself. But you're my inspiration. I'm going to
Okay.
push myself.
I'll
just
The
call
most
you each
important
week.
thing is manage your expectations. Start small. Don't try to say, I'm
Oh,
going to
no.
go all 3 days a week. Start with just let me make it once each week.
One
And even
day,
if that
yeah.
doesn't work out, say, okay, once every 2 weeks. Just find where you can be consistent and then build from there carefully.
Well,
Exactly.
Bud, you can hold me to it, though.
Oh yeah, I will.
All
At 2 in
right.
the morning, calling you up.
Yeah, 2 in the morning. Great.
Exactly. 2 a.m.
And
But-
Ben, thank you, Ben, for your information. It's outstanding. So.
Thank you, bud.
Yeah. So hold on, you guys. We're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to bring in our last
Bring in
guest,
our next guest.
that will go along with Tourney Talk. But for right now, this has been and And we're back, and we're going to go straight into our next segment, which is we're going to bring him in. I know. I saw the wave in the arms. Wait, where's my?
Yeah.
where's that next segment?
That poor guy.
You know what? Where is it at? Oh my gosh, I lost. You know what? There it is. And now it's time for. And our guest, Ryan. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Welcome to Tourney Talk. Let's get up, Tony. With your pew. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Ryan.
Oh, it's great to have you on, Ryan. It's been a long time that we've actually been on screen together, all the way back in the PB Live days, which was a lot of fun back then.
Good. We were young and dumb and didn't know what we were signing ourselves up for, which is why we need Ben now to pay
Yes.
Yeah,
the debt.
exactly. So that way we can be old and dumb.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it'll help you, Ryan, with those crunches that you were talking about. That you were like, ugh.
Oh, that was hell. In the bushes, the bushes light up in front of you, yellow and orange, and you just lay back. And you just got to do a couple of snaps because I'm shooting a pump. You snap for it, pop, pop. Like, did I get you all? Another 5 of you. But please just call yourselves out. Don't make me. Oh God, this is hell. I just call myself out. Like I'm. Yeah, there you go. Well done, cardio. My old foil.
It was bad. I mean, so we saw Ryan at Decay of Nations, which that's why we're like, dude, we got to have you on because we want to hear a recap since we weren't there the second day, but we also want to hear more about his workout on the field because it was great. Apparently on Saturday, it was a great workout for him. And since we have Ben on, we want him to, you can give some tips also, but also Tourney Talk because Ben was also at an event himself this past weekend. And then, of course, we've got the legend himself, Bud Orr, who's been at everything. So let's
Seen
talk
it all,
about
done it all.
yeah, he's
A
Got a
little bit.
melange of awesome here tonight. Welcome.
Thank you.
so Decay Nations. Bud, you've gone to some of those Decay Nations, right? Or have you not?
Oh yeah. I
So-
was supposed to go this weekend, but or the last weekend, and I didn't go. I was racing trucks, so that happened to have been on a racing weekend, and I told Giovanni, "Don't do that." But he did anyway.
He asks you before he does these things. Like, hold on, let me check real quick.
Yeah.
Yes, no go. Bud says no. Sorry, everybody, shut it down.
Yeah. Sorry.
he's got the red phone in the back. It's the Bud phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
we'll have to pick that up and be like, Bud, is this good?
The Bud
No?
line.
Yeah.
All right, we won't do it. Just stop.
Shut up.
But so Ryan, how was it? How was it for 2 days? Because we weren't there for both.
It was great. I mean, background me, I produced large scale scenario games for TAW Paintball 2001 for a number of years, host PB Live, wrote for a bunch of magazines, stuff like that. This is my first time on the field aside from like a walk-on game. I played 50 cal at a friend's bachelor party, but that doesn't really count. So it's my first time out there, got all my gear, got my stuff ready to go, got out there, and the only thing that worked was my mask. So I got to mad props to entire Team Knuckle Draggers for putting together a bunch of Mod Podge markers and all the kits to actually let me play. It was great. I was on Ekron. Ekron just stomped all across the board. After going and producing games, you can sort of see the wheels turning in the background. And so I could see production staff going and Decay of Nations scenario, mechs, tanks, shields, a lot of shields. Very interesting changes the entire way you play the game. I brought my kids into LARPing, so brought one of his little shields and went to check it out and get it signed off by the prop master. And like, that's adorable. Yeah, you go ahead. You run on the field with that. Like, what the heck? People are bringing like doors out on the field with them, and it's like mobile bunkers.
Yeah,
And it's really cool to see that because there's a gap. And you're like, I need 3 shields, and you fill that gap, and you made yourself a row of little lay down bunkers. It was pretty neat.
I got to bring up that picture because I saw that and I started laughing because I was like, "What is Ryan hiding behind? Is that a?" I looked closer. I was like, "Oh, that's a shield."
Yeah.
That-
Was something I bought as an indestructible shield on eBay. It was like a side of a water container. They just went through and cut it and put a nice leather strap on the back of it, Captain America style. But it worked. It was kind of ridiculous.
we got to show that.
When people wander up, you get a dumb guy with a shield in the front, and so
There you go.
that was me. I was that dumb guy.
There it is. Look at that thing. It's the size of your forearm.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can see, it was great. I had a pump marker, so I would shoot and put the pump against the shield. It's like shook, shook. I would pump it with the shield and then fire, shook, shook against the shield and shoot again.
Oh my gosh.
That was great. But
I love
Ekron-
Brian's comment there too.
That's crazy.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh,
That was fun. But
no.
as they were going through, Ekron was just wiping the field. It was just crazy. It was amazing hearing it over the headset too. Doing a great job of communicating from the CP to everybody on the field, not only the objective that's happening now, but looking to the next objective. Okay, we know where these props are on the field. Don't touch them yet, but I'm going to write that down so that when that comes into play, I found a big container here. I don't know. It's got a big like red stripe on it. Cool. I'll mark that down. So if that comes later, we know where to go to grab it. The same sort of thing going, okay, I know the next mission is in 30 minutes. it's going to be on that side of the field. I want people over there to make sure we own that side of the field, so it's not even a worry before that starts. So it was cool, but also on the other side, to pretty much plan your day as you went through. So as a producer, I would go through and drop a little bit of like chaos in the middle of that. And so because it was all pre-planned, you couldn't really do that. But the chaos that they were able to drop was mechs and tanks. And so Ekron would push through like almost to the CP, and then a wave and barrage of mechs and tanks would just go and push everybody back again. And so that was like the pressure valve they had to be able to make sure that it was still fun and playable. It's cool to be on that team where you're just like, rah, kicking all that butt. But then at the same time, the other side gets tired and angry, and tempers start to rise, and that's
Of
like,
course.
doesn't make it fun anymore. So
Of course, because let's face it, at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of man-child. So
yeah, we're just playing cowboys and Indians. Pew pew pew. I got you. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, you didn't.
Oh, I heard so much of that. Like big guys popping out, and it was like there was one guy he was a big guy, and he was shooting at this kid, and he's all like, "I got you out! I got you out! Get out!" And then he gets hit, and he's all like, "I'm not hit," and the rest all
I'm
like,
not
"You're
hit."
out, dude."
Right there.
yeah.
Yeah, there was one shield guy. I was before I had my shield, and I ran up. I'm like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. He's got hit on the top of his hopper. I'm like, okay, cover me. And Gadget from Knuckle Draggers is there, and he's got like a big mag-fed box on the bottom, just running. So I run over. I'm like, barrel tag. He's like, yeah, but you got shot too. I'm like, yeah, but ref. Paint check here. Oh, and the top of his hopper is like, oh yeah, your hopper's hit. I'm like, that's what we've been shouting at you for 3 minutes, yo. I'm happy to get myself out, so ref will finally check the thing that we've been
Exactly, to
shouting
prove
at
a
for 3
point.
minutes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. I really wish we could have been able to play. It was awesome to actually get out onto the field, which is not something that me and Dennis get to do very often.
That's true.
But
That's true.
thanks to Gary
Another
Baum, who
huge
was there.
thank you to Gary and to
Yeah.
Gio for getting us out on the field.
Yeah. So it was really cool. So Decay Nations was a success and a lot of fun.
It was. It's interesting to see how it's changed. Mechs not just having to be people on stilts with big things. If you're willing to get shot up and you've got enough sort of body armor on you, you're like, I'm a mech. They're like, okay, dummy, go out there. And so long as you have somebody with a big flag so we can tell when you're in or out, that's okay. And just go and get yourself shot a bunch. Enjoy.
Well, and then so now we'll move to Ben, who did Clowns and Zombies. What was that about?
Well, it was my first time doing it, but it's the 12th year that they've actually done this. So it's apparently about, I don't know, what is it?
Clowns and Zombies?
The zombies and the clowns, they're at war with each other. The zombies are supposed to spill the blood of the clowns, and the clowns are out to, I don't know, destroy the world. But it just turns into a giant shoot each other person fest. And apparently there were 700 people there doing it. So it was bigger than I even expected, even though I knew it was huge. It's so big that Ryan Greenspan, Yoshua, and a few other Dynasty guys were there, and they apparently come every year. So it was a really big turnout. I don't remember the other guy's name, but someone that represents Veterans Militia. I know you guys had an episode 1 or 2 ago where you were talking with some Veterans Militia guys.
Yeah.
But I think that might have been the underrepresentative. But
I wonder if it was where was the event?
This is at Paintball Explosion just outside of Chicago.
It might have been Jeff.
It might have been Jeff, because Jeff was posting on his Instagram that he was in Chicago. So it could have been Jeff.
It might have been.
Yeah.
Something Jeff would do.
Yes.
Suave looking Asian.
Yep.
That's
my,
Jeff.
My Filipino counterpart.
No, he said suave.
Suave.
Oh.
So now, Bud, you've been in the past Decay Nations. How big were those? Because it was something I've always wanted to do. I've never been able to play.
We've, I think the smallest one I've seen is like 400, and we've got up to 650, 700.
Jeez. And Ryan, do you know how many they had this year?
I don't know the numbers, but it felt pretty good. I mean, the weather was gorgeous, so that helped. So it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Although
but
I
to-
will admit, I started sucking wind.
yeah.
The most
So
important thing
that's
I
where
was
you
sharing
come
with them,
in.
like, this is on my pod pack now. Everybody check it out. It's my inhaler. That's how old I am. It's on my Flex 7, so I can pull it up and take puffs on my freaking inhaler. Man.
Oh man, no, like I thought I was like this war correspondent out there. I was like running in between the buildings with my camera going, and then I like stopped and I looked and I was all like, oh crap, the camera wasn't on, and I was just like,
Yeah.
At least you weren't on like push to the Vox and people get that on the mic. Like, someone please stop, push to talk, please. Stop it.
well, no, you could hear it on the Instagram because I thought I was cool and I had two hands. I was like double fisting it. I was like going, and obviously on the camera you can't hear me, but on my phone you could hear me. I was like, if I pass out, at least you guys can see where I went down.
Find the body.
Oh shit.
I found a prop. It looks like a media guy. I'll just tag it for later. Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. Where he falls, there shall he be buried.
Yeah, I just waving people on. Just go without me. Just leave me.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
We're saying that's why you got to get technology. That's when you get a tank. I'm just going to drive around and we'll hover around and just shout people.
Oh
There you go.
man, I'm telling you, and some of that stuff. So did they have a lot of like the tanks and mechs and that type of thing at your event, Ben?
They did the shields. They were supposedly had a tank, maybe even two tanks, but I didn't even see them out there, so I don't know how much they came into use. The teams were meeting in the middle of the park, which was mostly woods, ravines down there. So I don't think the tank could really cross the terrain at a certain point. So unless a team got pushed to their base, I don't think the tanks could really go that far. So I think they kind of became useless, but people did use shields, and that was pretty fun to kind of like make you change the way you approach certain situations in paintball, since, you know, most of the time no one's using a shield. So that does add some fun dynamic to it.
Well,
Yeah.
Bud,
And
have you?
which team were you representing?
I was on the clowns. I was told someone from the inside told me sign up for the clowns. I think the Dynasty guys might be on there. The local team that I know is going to be on there. And then everything got switched, so I had to play against all those people that I was wanting to play with. I was like, man, you clowned me, dog.
Well, Bud, have you ever built a tank for paintball? Since I mean, you build everything with wheels.
Yeah, way back in probably 88, 87, 88 in there, somewhere in there. Yeah. Well, they're smaller tanks, so, you know.
Yeah, these ones were like over at Decay Nation. It was like a golf cart with a bunch of netting on it.
Basically
Yeah.
golf carts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
James
why-
Skelly Davis and the Respawn folks with their tank
Yeah, that's
running
where
around. It was great.
that's where I built my first one, was for there.
Oh, that's cool.
I was at SC Village for 17 years. You know, matter of
Wow.
fact, I built the first building there,
Oh,
you know,
cool.
to work out of. I was going through 250,000 pounds of CO2 a year
Wow.
out of that shack. So I mean, it was pretty good for
That's
5
crazy.
years. Yeah.
It's probably
Wow.
still there.
I mean, my little claim to paintball fame, I guess you could say, is I helped Sean Walker. Well, first it was Sandy Johnson rebuild Camp Pendleton Park. Then I was
And then-
working for Sean Walker. We
Yeah.
then moved on to the new Camp Pendleton Park, which was on the other side. I helped him build that, and also helped him with the 29 Palms one that he had. So it was a lot of
And
fun.
then
Which,
we helped Gunny at Jungle a little bit as well.
yeah, to rebuild their speedball fields.
Yeah.
But I did like when I went by Respawn's booth, they had a tank that you literally just stick your legs in and slide up.
Oh,
I was like,
the
I want that
inflatable
too.
one.
Yeah. I just want to run around with that tank around me and just.
Oh, that would have been so much fun.
Yeah, Flintstone style. You got it.
At Jungle Island, we had real tanks.
Oh, really?
There was
Yeah.
only
Oh,
three,
wow.
There was only 3 people that could drive them, me and the owner and one other guy.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
They were
That would
they
have
were
been cool
fun.
to see.
Well, there was a guy who used to build cars who come out there, and they was going to have a wheel shop against the build car shop, and I taught him how to. It was a personnel carrier, so I was teaching him how to drive it, and then he took off by himself, you know, and That's how he done. I said, well, everything was good, but you just took out about 300 foot of fence. He didn't even see it. I mean, mowed it down. Mowed it. I mean, it was flat. But
Oh my
it's
gosh.
fun out there. It's fun. Yeah. That's,
Oh man.
We've had a lot of fun in paintball, man. I mean, a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
What do you
And,
think is
and
next,
at the
Bud?
end of the
Like,
day, that's like the most important thing, you know.
Fun
You know,
and
technology-wise.
camaraderie. Yeah.
and friends.
I mean, it was Decay of Nations that kind of got me a chance to, reconnect with Ryan, which I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Yeah.
We're not going to say years. We're not going to say how long it's been, but because then that just kind of ages us.
This very long, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I shaved that. I don't like to show that. I'm sorry.
No. So I was looking at your Instagram, Ryan, and I saw when you did you got the cut between your chops and the beard, and I was like, that's kind of slick. I'm really feeling like maybe I might steal that.
Do it.
Because I've been doing the mutton chops for 20 plus years now, and I think maybe I need to change it up.
This came from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. We were watching it. There's a jaunty sailor that's on the deck of the boat.
Jaunty sailor,
And
yeah.
I paused it. I'm like, would you be okay to kiss that for a while? My wife's like, okay, yeah, I approve.
Yeah.
I don't like to see this like once in the morning, but she's got to look at this the rest of the day, so she's got to get the
Right.
final approval for it.
Well, I mean, 3 of you guys all have facial hair that's pretty good there. Bud with that stylish mustache. Ben, you got the full thing going, and then Ryan with the slick, and I'm just bare. I got to. I have to.
I
Never jumped on the
I
mustache
just trim
train
mine
yet.
back, otherwise you'd be able to see my chops a little better. But
Well, we got to have hair somewhere. So I mean, I've lost all the stuff up here.
yeah, same.
So I that all blew in the street, though. See that's from riding Harley. The reason they make you ride a helmet so your hair won't fall off. So,
Person behind you with the windshield wipers, just like, oh, Bud,
yeah,
stop it.
exactly. You know it. You know that one. Yeah.
Too much testosterone is what it is. Yeah.
There you go. That's what I'm saying, man. We're just too manly for that.
Wow.
It's like, can't deal. I'm out.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I'm ready to go
fun
south
getting
for the
older.
winter. Yeah, down my neck under
Oh,
my
yeah.
back. So that works.
There you go.
Oh, you're looking good, brother. You're looking good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Feeling good. You too.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, don't do no damn comb over though. No, I mean that's.
Oh my God. I
no.
went to one barber and I sat down. I'm like, I don't know. What can you do with this? And he's like, thought about a comb over. And I like stood up like, I think I'm in the wrong place. And I was
Good move.
like, that's your opener?
You later.
You start with that? No.
Oh
Well,
my
it's
gosh.
okay.
Where do you go?
It's okay to get in a windstorm, and then you got this flap coming off the side of your head.
Yeah, you turn to one side and it's just like, what's up?
Yeah,
It's just-
it's like a little shadow catcher,
It's like a head fanny pack. I can put like my wallet in there, documents, loose change, like Nutrigrain bars. Yeah, it's all great.
Yeah, and then
You
you
know,
put shellac on it.
I'm shocked. I haven't heard anything from Lupe. I would think that this would be something he'd be jumping on.
Yeah, no kidding. He's been oddly quiet.
I know.
Too quiet.
Way too quiet for us.
Yeah.
But
This
oh my
tends to
God.
happen when someone starts talking about fitness. Everyone's like, "Oh, all right." This is,
Which is really sad because
Fatness, got
I mean the information that you're providing is so key.
It is. I
Thank
mean, it's needed for us, and we're like, at least us 3 that were at Decay Nation, we actually were winded
Oh yeah.
after
Yeah.
just a couple hours.
I went
Oh, yeah.
through Gadget talked me into the game back in like June every year for like the past decade or so. He's like, hey, you gonna come to Decay? And every year I have to be like, no, I'm not. No, sorry. And this year I'm like, bro, post-COVID, that's not gonna happen. I didn't like sit around doing burpees for 2 years. Come on, the hell.
Right.
And he's like,
Right.
you've got like 4 months. It's like October, it's June now. I was like, I could start running a 5K in 4 months. So that's what got me going. And so
Nice.
I downloaded a bunch of apps. None of them were right. And so I just started running, wheeze, jogging in the morning. And so that I could actually play at Decay. And it was cool. It got me off the couch. It got me out there. But then, like Ben, you're saying, it is very specific movements and muscle groups. I did trapeze forever ago. And like, you couldn't sit up to get out of bed afterwards because just you use your muscles so different. You have to do the log roll out of bed. And I was like, this stuff behind my shoulder blades, what is this? They're like, that's your trapezium. I'm like, oh, that would make sense that this is really working out. So those were very specific movements and stretches. And just like paintball too. Like leg day, yeah, screw it.
Yeah, you don't just use your legs when you do anything. You use your whole body. So it's very important to do movements that connect all the joints, especially to facilitate the sport or the activity that you want to do. Yeah. That being said, though, we don't do a lot of overhead movements in paintball necessarily, but someone actually asked me this question. Like, there's some viral footage of at least a couple people out there who have dislocated their shoulder while playing paintball. And one of the things you do have to do to make sure your shoulders are as stable as possible is make sure that they're not just strong in this position with your arms out in front of you or beside you. You also have to make sure they're perfectly strong and stable above you. Because if you don't, that's a giant kink in the armor, you know, where if you just hit it the wrong way, that the momentum of that impact of you absorbing your weight on the ground can knock it the right direction and end up dislocating. So even though we don't do overhead movements in paintball necessarily, it is still part of my program because I want your shoulders to be as stable as possible.
Yeah. And again, it oftentimes some of these muscle groups and you know, literally movements, like you say, kind of get overlooked when it kind of makes sense, especially, you know, you got your you know, snake player who's hitting that 50 right off the break. The last thing we need is for him to go, you know, barrel into the dirt, do an endo, and then he's like, yeah, sorry guys, I'm done for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah.
Watch their heels hit the back of their shoulders. And
yeah,
that's
scorpion themselves in the back of the head. Exactly.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, Bud is actually like living proof of the big philosophy that if anyone took one thing away from this conversation that watches or listens to this podcast, it's that you really do just have to, well, basically what you put into your body is what you'll get out of your body. You have to keep putting into it, keep investing in it, because the body adapts to what you do. And if all you do is sit or basically walk to the next place that you're going to sit down, which is kind of like modern first world life summed up activity wise, then your body's going to get really good at doing nothing else except for walking and sitting. So the moment you try to run off the break in paintball, the moment you try to crouch and kneel for a few minutes, especially leaning over one direction, your body's all of a sudden be like, what the hell is this? Like, we're not ready for this. Like, you're going to get punished now for the next few days. We're going to let you know we're not ready to do that. So
information ramping up into it. You also have like the days afterwards too, because Bud was talking about like, yeah, I stretch a lot. Heard back and forth things like, oh, stretching doesn't do anything, or stretching is very fundamental to what you have to do before the actual activity.
Both before and after, as a matter of fact. And the way you do it before is not the same the way you do it after. You actually want to do more shorter duration, more repeated stretching before. We call it dynamic stretching. And then afterwards, you want to do static stretching that most people think of when they think of stretching, holding something for a long period of time, helping kind of release some pulled up blood that's in those muscles to help them relax fully, get you circulating again. But also just to lengthen those muscles so that they cool down in a more lengthened, relaxed position. Because when they cool it down in a tight position, that's when you feel a lot of that soreness.
Yep.
Cool. Get rid of that lactic acid, yo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Oh man. Now I'm tired just listening to all that. Oh. No, I spent a month in Louisiana, July, and hearing about like not doing much except for what I do here at work, unfortunately, is a lot of sitting and just standing up and walking to the front of the office and walking back, sitting back down. I got out into the field and I was now with an extra, I would say about like an extra 25 pounds on me, plus what I was carrying along with me, and having to constantly move and do these different movements that I'm not used to. Yeah, my body was hating me. I literally was. It was punishing me when I finally would get the chance to sit down. I pulled a muscle in my back because I was just trying to lift something. I was like, oh my God, I'm in bad shape. So
I try
definitely
to
got to get into the workout.
One of the things I would tell people when I would work with them at the gym when I was personal training. So my first 2 years as a trainer were in the gym on the floor because I knew I needed that experience before I started working with people remotely online. But I tried to tell them, what are, the vacations that you look forward to every year? Most people where I was living, they go skiing once a year. They go hiking, they go on some kind of big trip where there's a lot of activity on the trip. And I'm like, what you need to be doing year round is preparing your body for that one event or two events, because you don't want to be looking forward to that for months and then go do it. And all of a sudden you find out, especially with each passing year, man, this just isn't that fun anymore because I'm struggling so much to do it. So the more active you are, the better your body's going to. And this goes at any age. You can literally create improvements in your body at any age. That's not to say that an 80-year-old can accomplish the same things as someone who trains equally at the age of 20 or 30. But there is something at every age of life and every injury that you've incurred, every surgery you might have had, that you can do to create improvements. So always be improving.
Well, in the words of Bud's wife, the man can do everything. So. But you know what, guys?
That's a good thing for your wife to say.
So we're going to wrap it up with you guys for right now. If you guys, all three of you, can sit tight, just at least in the green room, we're going to wrap up the show because we're at that. No, you can't. No, right? You're going to go?
Yeah, I'm just saying no, just to be contrary.
Difficult. Just difficult. But that's okay. He used a big word on our show, Dennis. You can't do that. But all right. So if you guys could hold tight, we're going to wrap up this episode, but we're going to also wrap up this segment of, oh God, I'm supposed to be a professional.
Where's the button?
Right, Dennis?
Professional
This.
what?
Push the
button.
button.
I'm going to push the button down. And we're back. I think Ryan really loves that intro. I should probably just do it again, huh?
We should.
No, I can't, because that's going back into that segment. But anyways, man, we've had a lot of talk about working out, which is awesome, which is something we never talk about. But it was awesome to have Ben on to talk about that. So if you guys want to find out more about him, again, it's just like us. He has a theme with all his social medias, which is playbetterpaintball.com.
Yeah,
Play Better
let's
Paintball,
throw that website back
Instagram.
up again for everybody.
Yeah, let me get that up. And where's that banner? There it is. Boom, there it is, guys. So definitely check it out. And he's got a lot of great information on there. Check out his Instagram. He posts stuff a lot, and I'm glad that we actually brought him on, and look forward to talking to him more.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yes, Ryan,
I kind of wish
gonna
we
make
would
sure
have had
that
a
I
little bit
give you
more
that-
time.
I'm going to give you that song, Ryan, just so you have a ringtone. Hopefully it'll be my ringtone. So definitely, it's a lot of great information there. Also, we want to thank Bud for coming on, which Bud is he's a living legend. He is amazing. I loved being on the show, on Fred's show with him. And also, Bud, every time I have watched Fred's show and just listening to you, all three of you guys talk, it's like hilarious. I'm laughing so hard.
I mean, they have amazing chemistry. Their dynamic is unbelievable. And I actually spoke to Fred like right as we were getting ready to go on the air, and he was like, "Oh, make sure that's my brother right there. You got to take care of him." And I was like, "I promise, Fred, we're gonna take care of him."
Definitely, and we will. And I know that Bud's probably going to be calling me each week now to see if I'm working out. So, Bud, I will.
waking us up at 2 o'clock.
Waking me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Did you work out? Yes. I'm going back to sleep now. But it was great having everybody on. Ryan, I've missed actually talking to you and being on your show, and it's actually awesome to have you on our show. And it was great to see you, and look forward to actually meeting up with you next week. So it's really cool.
Absolutely.
But
And
as
thank you
always-
for rocking the old school Sunday clothing barrel cover.
Oh
during the game.
yes,
That was
He had-
that was very, very cool. That was very
oh my
cool.
god! I looked down and it was like, I haven't seen one of those in years.
Yeah.
I don't even have one.
Yeah.
and I
pointed it
made
out to you,
those.
you know, it's like, hey, check it out. Check it out.
Yeah, but it was really cool. So, as always, guys, the ways you can find us, again, we're going to say it's like a theme: Behind the Mask Media, Instagram, Gmail, TikTok, YouTube,
yeah.
or,
Facebook.
Facebook, all of them, Behind the Mask Media. You can find us there. And if you have anything that you guys want to talk about, you guys can actually send us a message. You can DM us, or you could actually put it up on MySpace also. Yes.
MySpace and Tinder. No grinder.
No, but Tinder at Behind the Mask Media. But really, you guys, want to get a hold of us, you guys can do that. If you guys have anything that you want to promote, send us a message. We'll look it over and, have you guys on the show. We will be promoting Lupe's OnlyFans.
Lupe coming in strong at the end. I love it.
You can find Lupe on OnlyFans at Lupe Leva Jr. There you go. We want to give a shout out to Lupe there. But it's been great having everybody on. And as always, it's a lot of fun to be on and doing this and talking about paintball. And of course, you guys get out there, drop that cash on those counters, those small shops, get them going, get out there to these fields. And again, we had spoken to Gio. If you guys haven't seen the video, go on to Instagram, or I mean, not Instagram, but onto YouTube. And it's a special edition of Tourney Talk, which is Scenario Talk. And we started off with the talk that we had with Gio and him talking about how he wants to bring SE Village back up to its glory days, which is going to be amazing when it gets done, and he was talking about all the other fields that are out there, but don't forget about even the small ones like Jungle Island and ASG, which are here local to California, but also all the other fields that are out there. Get out there, drop your money on their cash, support them, because that's the only way we're going to grow the sport and get it back to what it was before. So, what was Lupe? Oh my gosh, I always love that. Lupe always coming on strong. So guys, again, don't forget our guests, Bud, Ben, and Ryan. It was great having you guys on. But for us, we are going to call it, because we are at almost an hour and a half, which I was hoping to be able to get this done in less than that. But whatever. It was fun.
Too much good information.
Yeah, seriously. And I got to get back to my game. As you guys can see, the Dodgers are going. So
What's the
with
score?
that, shut up. Like I always say, if you can move, you can shoot, then you can play.